we're joined by a highly regarded advocate in human rights and counter-trafficking in Thailand and the ASEAN region. His Excellency Wanchai Roujanavong, the representative to Thailand for the ASEAN Commission on the Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Women and Children, or more commonly referred to as ACWC. He represented and negotiated on behalf of Thailand in the deliberations of several UN conventions and protocols, as well as many other treaties and MOUs between governments. He wears many hats as an advisor, public official, chairman of NGOs, and lecturer on human rights. And for dedicating more than 20 years in the area of child protection and child rights, he has received national awards. Welcome, Kun Wanchai. Thanks for your time today.
Give me a chance to speak on this one.
I like your background. I can see that it's your garden. As I said earlier, maybe we should have some coffee there sometime.
You're welcome. Anytime.
We will be talking today about the ASEAN Convention Against Trafficking in Persons, especially women and children, and its contributions in national and regional counter-trafficking efforts. Take us back to that time when it was being developed, how the 10 ASEAN member states reached consensus on this. Who were the key actors then to drive this, and why was it so important to create this regional instrument?
Since in 2000, in the year 2000, and then about after that, around 6-7 years, the situation of human trafficking in ASEAN is quite rampant. There's a resolution from the ASEAN leader that we should have a regional convention against trafficking in person. So all 10 countries deliberate and discuss and argue whatever that we can agree upon to make it better than the UN protocol is okay.
No one country can address transnational challenges like trafficking in persons. How has the ACT aided in combating trafficking in persons in the region, and how has it enhanced cooperation amongst ASEAN member states? And another question maybe at this point also is, as a highly regarded authority on transnational organized crime and international cooperation, what do you think does the ACT mean for the region?
Because in the ACT, the international cooperation is one main part in that convention. And when you talk about cooperation, you have to, it can be roughly divided into two groups of cooperation. And informal cooperation,
yep,
and formal cooperation. Informal cooperation is mean that you can call between police and police, law enforcement to law enforcement.
There's a people-to-people cooperation.
Yeah, yes, people-to-people cooperation, like social welfare.
Yes,
to take care of the victim can contact each other, and at the same time, it encourage the official cooperation to follow that in even in the context of non-legal cooperation. But on the other hand, in trying to prosecuting them, proving, bringing evidence in court, you have to get the very juristic formal cooperation, like extradition,
yes,
mutual legal assistance in criminal matters.
Yes.
So in the convention is said that this two type of cooperation needed, and all 10 countries must cooperate it. But again, in the very legal cooperation like mutual legal assistance and extradition, you need another treaty or another convention. Luckily, that ASEAN have what you call Treaty on Mutual Cooperation in Criminal Matters.
Yes, the ASEAN MLA.
Yeah, the ASEAN MLA in place. So the convention can refer to that one. However, they attempted to create something like that on extradition. It's not yet materialized. So for extradition is based on treaty between bilateral treaty among ASEAN countries. So this is still one of the gap in trying to do this. But however, every country must make the law on to punish the offender of human trafficking, make it extraterritorial jurisdiction. So even though you cannot extradite, but when you were informed that with evidence, each country have to arrest it and bring them to court.
Yeah. Do you think Wanchai,
even though the crime is committed outside the country?
Extraterritorial jurisdiction, yeah. Do you think, Kun Wanchai, the ACTIP has somehow addressed some of those gaps in international cooperation amongst ASEAN member states?
It helped a lot because if you need cooperation, you can cite ACTIP.
Yeah.
As the basis for cooperation. So after you have the convention, many countries have to amend their domestic law in that regard. That's why ACTIP is have a very strong point on this, because for all 10 countries at that time, each country have some good practices on it.
Yeah.
And then we bring all the good practices together and put in ACTIP. So not all countries have every obligatory measure in there, because we gathering from all the best practice in all 10 countries together and put it in the convention. So even Thailand, although we have nearly at that time more than 80% of the measure, we still have to amend it our law in order to cover it 100%. All other countries as well. So that's why I'm very proud that ACTIP have played a very strong role in modernize the domestic law of ASEAN countries, which when they have domestic law reformed it in accordance with ACTIP, the practice in the country will be, follow, change it in according with the domestic law that we amended, in order to make sure that each country can implement it ACTIP completely. You have to look at two things. The first one, how each country interpreted obligatory measure in ACTIP and amended the law, because some amended the law to be very strong effect. Some just on the take middle ground. And the second thing is how the law enforcement interpreted the domestic law.
Yeah.
So this is two things that you have to look.
I'm happy that you emphasize that, because we're trying to debunk some sort of myth that ACTIP remains in the abstract. But really, as you just explained now, there are concrete measures that ASEAN member states has instituted as a result of them being a signatory to the ACTIP. And one of those is aligning their national priorities and legislation to the ASEAN Convention Against Trafficking in Persons. On another area, Kun Wanchai, how does the ACTIP promote gender equality and social inclusion? And if I can also add, child protection.
In the ACTIP itself, it focuses on this is the ASEAN Convention Against Trafficking in Person to suppress and punish trafficking in person, and especially women and children.
Yes.
And in the it divide into I think 4 parts. The first one is prevention. The second is protection. The third is providing assistance. And the fourth is international cooperation. In the assistance part, it is quite clear that all 10 ASEAN countries have to provide protection and assistance to the victims on every aspect: food, shelters, healthcare, protections, and all of this. And in order to provide assistance, the need to take care of the of gender, take care of the need of women and children, must be in line with this, because we all know that gender, women and children are not the same. They are more vulnerable than men.
Yes.
So it is provided in the convention that in order to provide protection and assistance to victims, gender and status of the victim must be considered and provided accordingly. So in turn, even though it does not set equality of gender or whatsoever, but the term that all the assistance provided must be considered, in order to make it suitable to gender, and not only genders, the age of the victim as well. And for children, the focus is on we need to punish the trafficker, not the victim.
Yes, the active, I think, has strongly addressed the gender dimension of trafficking in persons.
That's why, I think this part is much more better than the protocol. Yes. My final word is that this convention and its implementation is not left to official. The leaders are very concerned on implementation. And that's why we, for active, is one of the ASEAN convention that have a very complete plan of implementation that we call Bohol Work Plan.
Yes. Yeah.
And one strong point of the Bohol Work Plan is that every sectoral body has to work on. I have to say that Bohol Work Plan is one of the best work plans of ASEAN, because it is spread, it picked out every section of the convention and analyze that what needs to be done in order to implement that, and who should do it. You gather all the strength of ASEAN to fight trafficking in person.
Well, thank you so much once again, Kun Wanchai. This has been so insightful, and thank you for your time and commitment. I really enjoyed our conversation this afternoon. I'd like to say that change can happen one conversation at a time. Thanks for joining Conversations with Chem. Until next time.